हेलो स्टूडेंट्स एंड वेलकम टू द न्यू वीडियो ट्यूटोरियल्स ऑफ हॉटस्पॉट बायोलॉजी विद ताहिर अवान के साथ। आज हम डिस्कस करने वाले हैं हमारा नेक्स्ट सेल ऑर्गेनेल दैट इज़ माइटोकॉन्ड्रिया। सो बड़ा ही इंपॉर्टेंट सेल ऑर्गेनेल है, एग्ज़ाम में डायरेक्टली लॉन्ग आंसर में आपको ये पूछा जा सकता है। तो आज हम इसको काफ़ी डिटेल में पढ़ने वाले हैं, इसके अल्ट्रा स्ट्रक्चर के बारे में और कुछ बड़ी ही इंपॉर्टेंट इन्फॉर्मेशंस आपको बताने वाले हैं। ये इन्फॉर्मेशन 11th क्लास बीएससी एमएससी के स्टूडेंट्स जितने भी हैं ये सब के लिए इक्वली इम्पॉर्टेंट है। हमने हर एक क्लास को यहाँ पे इक्वली मैनेज किया हुआ है। तो चलिए शुरू करते हैं विद अ सेल ऑर्गेनेल दैट इज माइटोकॉन्ड्रिया। सो इफ आई break this word mitochondria, so it is basically a Greek word. It has been derived from a Greek word. The first word is mitos, which means thread, and the second word is chondrion, which means grain. So as you all know, mitochondria is called the powerhouse of cell, as you have already studied in the 9th class or the smaller classes. So the important things that you have to remember is that it is present only in aerobic eukaryotes, means the organisms which will perform the aerobic respiration, mitochondria will exclusively be present in those organisms, and they are basically important for the two important physiological functions, that is the oxidative phosphorylation and for the Krebs cycle, which we will discuss in the plant physiology, right? So as I told you, they are present in the aerobic eukaryotes, so that's why they are absent in prokaryotic cell as well as anaerobic eukaryotes. So this is very big objective, right? So they were first discovered by Kolliker in 1850, and the modern name and the present name has been given by Benda in 1897. And in the mature red blood cells of mammals, the mitochondria are absent or either they are lost, right? So next we will discuss the number of mitochondria per cell. So usually the total number of mitochondria per cell varies, so it can be different according to the cell. For example, if we talk about the sperm cell, so there are only 25 mitochondria which are present in the sperm cell. In the kidney cell, per kidney cell, about 300 to 400 mitochondria. It is just a one kidney cell, right? And in one liver cell, there are about 1000 per one liver cell, and nearly 5 lakh in the flight muscle cells. So basically the number, so what is the criteria of the number of mitochondria? Actually the cells where there is more physiological need of energy, the mitochondria will be more, and where there is the physiological energy requirement is less, the mitochondria will be less in number. And also the size of the cell also decides the number of mitochondria, right? Next we will discuss about the shape and the size of mitochondria. So they are usually spherical, cylindrical, tubular and sausage shape. And if we talk about on the wide basis, they are usually cylindrical structures, right? So now if we talk about the size, so their size also varies. Their length varies from 1 to 4.1 micrometer, and their diameter varies from 0.2 to 1 micrometer, right? Now next is the chemical composition of the mitochondria. This is also very important to you. So it consists of various biomolecules along with the minerals. So the highest concentration is of proteins. The proteins are nearly 60 to 70% present in the mitochondria, and lipids concentration is nearly 25 to 35%. RNA is nearly 5 to 7%, and very small amount of DNA is present, right? And there are some minerals which are present in very trace amounts like magnesium, calcium phosphate, and etc. Also there are many granules which can be present in the mitochondria, but these minerals are present in traces, right? Now, so this was the basically introduction to the mitochondria. Now, next we will discuss the very important, that is the ultra structure of the mitochondria, or you can say the structure of mitochondria. So as I already told you the chemical composition of the mitochondria, so remember one point, whenever you draw the ultrastructure of the mitochondria, just keep in mind to elaborate all these things. So I have already drawn the ultrastructure of the mitochondria, as you can see in the on the screen. So if we look at the ultrastructure of the mitochondria, you can clearly see that there are two membranes. So basically mitochondria is a double membranous structure. Please write on your copies all the notes. So mitochondria is a double membranous structure. So it consists of basically two membranes. One is the outer membrane. This is the outer membrane, and another is the inner membrane. It is the inner membrane, right? So I will be telling some important points about the outer membrane. So please write. So if I talk about the outer membrane is smooth. Please write. It is permeable to number of metabolites, and it is due to the presence of protein channels. So the permeability of the outer membrane is due to the presence of some protein channels, and that protein channels are called porins. They are called porins, or they are called minute pores, right? And few enzymes are also connected with the lipid synthesis, which are located in this particular membrane, which are responsible for the lipid formation. And one more thing that I must tell you about the outer membrane. The outer membrane is poor in proteins. It is poor in proteins, right? So the protein concentration is less in the outer membrane, but it is more as compared to the outer membrane. So inner membrane has the more protein concentration as compared to the outer. So if I talk about the inner membrane, now this is very important. This is very important. So one more thing that I also want to tell you, that each of this membrane, the outer membrane or the inner membrane, each of this membrane has the thickness of about 60 to 75 angstrom. This is also very important. Please note down. So this I talk about the outer membrane. So if I talk about the inner membrane, so inner membrane is permeable to only some metabolites. So as I told you, the outer membrane is permeable to the number of metabolites, but the inner membrane is permeable only to some of the metabolites, and it is rich in double phospholipid. It is rich in double phospholipid, and this phospholipid is known as cardiolipin. It is known as cardiolipin, and this lipid has the 4 fatty acid chains. How many? 4 fatty acid chains. So that's why this inner membrane is permeable. This inner membrane is impermeable to the ions. As I already told you, that inner membrane is permeable to only selected molecules. It is due to this double phospholipid membrane, right? Also, the protein concentration is also high. Right? So next is that if you look at the structure of this mitochondria, one is the outer membrane and another is the inner membrane. So now look at very carefully. The inner membrane has been folded, right? You can see some folded structures that are arising from the inner membrane. So basically this inner membrane is infolded. It is infolded variously to form involutions. So these are basically the involutions, and these involutions are known as cristae. These are known as cristae, and these cristae are basically for increasing the active area of inner membrane, because as I already told you that mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, so it will generate ATP. So the basic phenomena for the production of ATP occurs on this inner membrane. We will told you in the plant physiology, and this inner membrane is further folded so that the more and more ATP are generated. So for that, these are the enfolded structures of which membrane? Inner membrane, which are known as cristae, right? So these are basically for increasing the physiological area. So now, as you can see that these cristae possesses some small structures, stalk-like structures. So these small structures are known as elementary particles. These are known as elementary particles. We will discuss the structure of these elementary particles. So these elementary particles are also known as F0, F1 particles. These are also known as oxysomes, right? These are also known as Fernandez and Moran particles, as they have discovered these particles, Fernandez and Moran particles, right? And these particles, they basically act as ATPase. They act as ATPase. So what is basically ATPase? It is an enzyme which will generate the ATP in the chemiosmotic synthesis of ATP. We don't have to discuss that. We have to just remember the structure, right? This is the outer membrane. This is the F1 particle. So actually this was for this oxysome ATPase. Okay. Now we will discuss the full structure of this elementary particles. So just remember the point. We are discussing the outer and the inner membrane. We don't have discussed the inner structure. We are just discussing firstly the outer and the inner. Outer we have discussed. Now we are discussing the inner membrane cristae structure. Okay. Now this is the detailed structure of the inner membrane. So as you can already see that this is the inner membrane enfolded to form the cristae. This is the whole cristae, and these are the F0, F1 particles which are attached to it, and the space between the cristae is known as intracrystal space. It is the intracrystal space, and this is the blue color bodies. These are basically the respiratory chain. It is the respiratory chain, and these are the porine molecules, and this will be the outer membrane, and this is the inner membrane. So basically the inner membrane is folded to form the cristae. Now the cristae, as I already told you, will contain a tennis racket like particles which are known as F1 particles. So it consists of basically three structures or three parts. One is the base, that is the F0 particle, second is the stalk, and third is the head part, which is the F1 particle, right? So the stalk is, so if I talk about the dimensions of this, the F0 is about 11 nanometer long, the stalk is nearly 5 nanometer long, and the head portion is nearly 8.5 nanometer long. Okay. So this was all about the F0, F1 particles, right? So I think very simple about the outer and the inner membrane. Now what is next? Now after the outer and the inner membrane, the mitochondria consist of two chambers. How many chambers? It consists of two chambers. First we discuss about the two membranes. Now it consists of two chambers. One is the outer chamber and another is the inner chamber. So the outer chamber is also called perimitochondrial space. It is also called perimitochondrial space. So basically the perimitochondrial space is the space between the outer and the inner membrane. So this middle portion is basically the perimitochondrial space, and the diameter of this space is nearly 60 to 100 angstrom, right? Now this is the outer chamber. Now the inner chamber. Next is the inner chamber. So the inner chamber is present inside the inner membrane. So it basically, the inner chamber forms the core. It forms the core of the mitochondria, and it consists of several number of organelles or parts. So the first part is the matrix part. Along with matrix, it consists of circular DNA. Just remember, it is a circular DNA. Please write in your copy. And also there are many RNA particles present in the DNA along with the ribosomes. Right. So the ribosome here are present. They are 70s in nature. This is very big objective, and 55s, right? So this was the complete structure of the mitochondria. As I told you, the two divisions: first is the membranous division, outer and the inner membrane, and second is the chamber division, the outer chamber and the inner chamber. The inner chamber consists of various parts. Now there are some very specific points that you have to remember about the mitochondria. So now we will discuss some very important features of mitochondria. So which will comes under the heading of autonomy of mitochondria, or the independence of the functioning of mitochondria. As I already told you that mitochondria have its own DNA, so that DNA can produce its own mRNA, its tRNA and its RNA, right? So it means that it has all that functions that a normal nucleus can do, because the DNA is usually present in the nucleus. So from DNA, RNA is produced. From RNA, the proteins are produced, right? So for that proteins, the mitochondria have its own ribosomes, and the mitochondria can also multiply itself by doing the binary divisions. So by doing the binary division, what one mitochondria gets converted into the another, or you can say the new mitochondria. So that's why this mitochondria is the semi-autonomous organelle. That is, it can perform its functions independently, irrespective of the cell or the nucleus, right? So in the video end, I will tell you a very interesting story about the mitochondria. So stay tuned for that. So in the last, we will discuss about the functions of the mitochondria. So the primary function of the mitochondria is the oxidation of the respiratory substrates. So the basically respiratory substrates are oxidized to carbon dioxide and water during the process of respiration, and after that there is a formation of adenosine triphosphate, that is the energy currency of the cell. So that's why it is called the powerhouse of the cell. And also there are many biochemicals that are formed due to the mitochondria like chlorophyll, cytochromes, steroids. Along with that, many amino acid synthesized. They also store and release calcium whenever it is required. Right? Usually the organism receive the mitochondria from its mother. This is very, very important. The organism receive the mitochondria from its mother. We will tell you in the genetics when you will be in the 12th class. So that is known as maternal inheritance. That is the receivance. Yeah, you can say when the organism receive mitochondria from its mother, that is known as the maternal inheritance. Now, this was all about the structure of mitochondria. We have discussed in very full details about the structure and the function of the mitochondria. Now, basically, as I told you that mitochondria is a semi-autonomous organelle. So how it becomes semi-autonomous organelle, I will tell you the story about that. तो हुआ कुछ ऐसे कि बेसिकली जो हमारा प्रोकैरियोटिक सेल था, हमारा एक प्रोकैरियोटिक सेल था. सो जो प्रोकैरियोटिक सेल होता है, मैंने आपको बताया था जब हमने स्ट्रक्चर डिस्कस किया था, तो प्रोकैरियोटिक सेल का जो स्ट्रक्चर था उसमें डीएनए प्रेजेंट होता था, उसमें आरएनए प्रेजेंट होता था. सो विद इन टाइम ऑफ एवोल्यूशन क्या हुआ, ये जो प्रोकैरियोटिक सेल था इसको एनगल्फ कर लिया यूकैरियोटिक सेल ने. इसको क्या किसने एनगल्फ कर लिया, यूकैरियोटिक सेल ने. सो जब इस प्रोकैरियोटिक सेल को इस यूकैरियोटिक सेल ने क्या कर लिया, एनगल्फ कर लिया. एनगल्फ करने के बाद ये अपने सारे के सारे फिजियोलॉजिकल फंक्शन इस पर्टिकुलर यूकैरियोटिक सेल में परफॉर्म करने लगा. अब होता कुछ ऐसे है कि जब भी कोई फॉरेन पार्टिकल या सेल किसी भी सेल के अंदर एंटर करता है तो यूजुअली वो उसको रिजेक्ट कर देता है. लेकिन जैसे ही ये फॉरेन प्रोकैरियोटिक सेल था ये इस यूकैरियोटिक सेल के अंदर गया तो ये इसके लिए एनर्जी सिंथेसाइज करने लगा. क्या सिंथेसाइज करने लगा, एनर्जी सिंथेसाइज करने लगा. यानी कि ये इसके लिए यूजफुल काम करने लगा. दैट्स वाई यूकैरियोटिक सेल ने इस प्रोकैरियोटिक सेल को कहा कि आप हमारे अंदर ही रहिए, आप हमारे अंदर रिटेन रहिए, हम आपको शेल्टर देंगे, बदले में आप हमारे लिए एनर्जी बनाइए. इस तरह से वो जो प्रोकैरियोटिक सेल था वो माइटोकॉन्ड्रिया में कन्वर्ट हो गया और इस तरह के एसोसिएशन को कहा जाता था म्यूचुअलिज्म. राइट. सो दिस वाज बेसिकली द स्मॉल स्टोरी कि किस तरह से जो माइटोकॉन्ड्रिया था वो सेल के अंदर आया. हालांकि सेल खुद भी एनर्जी प्रिपेयर कर सकता है अगर उसके पास माइटोकॉन्ड्रिया नहीं हो, लेकिन माइटोकॉन्ड्रिया उसके लिए जब यूज़फुल काम कर रहा था तो इसलिए उसने सोचा कि क्यों ना मैं इसको अपने अंदर ही रहने दूं. आई होप कि आपको वीडियो बहुत पसंद आया होगा. वीडियो को लाइक करिएगा, लेकिन किसी तरह का भी अगर कोई डाउट होगा तो कमेंट सेक्शन में ज़रूर बताइएगा. टिल देन स्टे सेफ, स्टे हैप्पी एंड बाय बाय.